Toronto Maple Leafs, Florida Panthers. It'll blow your mind to find out that the Leafs are not favored in this series. The Panthers are. Wow, isn't that crazy?
Disrespect. As the Panthers always say, we want Toronto.
I think they do
They're
always say that.
famous for saying it. Well, we're going to punish you for your cockiness.
You know,
all right?
The Leafs actually got through the first round this year. Obviously, a rare happening in Toronto. But one thing they cannot escape, despite the fact that the Bruins fell off, you can't escape Brad Marchand. He is on the Florida Panthers, and you're gonna have to do it again.
Oh, that's so frustrating.
So, well, let's start with I'm gonna start on the way out. So goaltending, then defense, then forwards. Okay.
Sure.
Anthony Stolarz won a cup with the Florida Panthers last year,
and he was a huge part of the run.
Huge part. Is a good goalie also.
Yes.
Anthony Stolarz. Sergei Bobrovsky. I think you have to give the edge to Bobrovsky, as good as Stolarz has been this year.
Yeah, and I mean that's very fair. That's very fair. I'd be comfortable with Woll if it ended up being Woll for whatever reason. But to say Sergei Bobrovsky's backup is better than him the year after he won a cup is
you're gonna have to take that away from him, right? You
meteoric levels of cope. You have to give the edge to the Panthers, unfortunately.
That Woll thing is a very weird storyline. I don't understand it. I don't know why anybody's considering Joseph Woll for the starting net for the Leafs.
No, I'm just saying, like, if he were to falter, if he were to get injured, I'd be perfectly confident with Woll.
Totally.
Whereas if Bobrovsky gets injured for the Panthers, it's kind of a thing.
Yes, but I think there's been some narrative around people wanting Woll to have a start in this series, in the Ottawa series along the line. People were talking about Woll getting in there. I didn't get that.
It's overthinking.
I don't get that either.
It's overthinking.
I do want to say that the last time that the Leafs and Panthers squared off in the playoffs, Woll was the starter because Sammy got injured.
And
he was good.
And he was good. He's gotten better, and the Leafs still have another guy ahead of him. Like, this isn't the team that Florida played in 2023. Put it that way.
Right, and it's not even the team the Leafs took to the playoffs last year, but the Florida Panthers defense kind of sort of stays the same, and it's mean. We'll start with them. Forsling, who I just want to remind people, they got him on waivers.
So frustrating.
Forsling, Seth Jones, Mikula Kulikov, Balinskis, and Nate Schmidt, who's had a really good first round.
And who's missing?
That would be Aaron Ekblad for game one because he's suspended for just one game in this series. That's an ugly defensive core. It's a long night. They smothered Nikita Kucherov 2 years in a row.
I think what gets lost with the Panthers is, yeah, they're big, they're mean, they do a lot of after whistle stuff, they'll clock you, they'll try to get away with stuff. They also, like you said, smother you. They skate you into the dirt. Forsling's going to do that. Jones is not going to get tired. It's just not in his nature. Nate Schmidt scored 3 goals. Like, we're like, hey, Simone Benoit, third pair. That's hilarious. Nate Schmidt got that himself. He got the same amount of goals as the Leafs' entire third pair because OEL got 2 goals, as well. Yeah. And we were like, isn't that mind-blowing? And the Panthers are like, ho-hum. And he got, I think, 3 in the first 2 games.
Last year, and a lot of these guys were around the year before, the Leafs took Joel Edmondson, Timothy Liljegren, TJ Brody, who was on the downslide.
Man.
Ilya Lyubushkin was not there 2 years ago, but, Luke Shen was. So,
right.
Kind of similar. This year, it's a lot different. It's Riley Carlo, who've been great together.
Mm-hmm.
It's Tanev McCabe, who've been great together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Benoit OEL, who, as you said, has 3 goals in the first round. Don't expect him to maybe get that. OEL knows this team really well. He was on it when they won.
It's going to be a collaborative effort, OEL, Stolarz, and Lorentz, who are going to have to, and I mean, obviously the Leafs video staff and whatever, but if anyone's going to be able to pick apart Paul Maurice and his systems and what he might be thinking in really specific moments, it'll be those 3 guys who were with the Panthers last year.
And Toronto's defense, Jesse, is just so much better than it was. Is it going to be enough?
Yeah, it's like miles better than any decor they've had in any recent memory. Like, forget last year. It's been like 2 decades since they've had a good decor like they have this one. But for the Florida Panthers, it's not even about like the guys they have. It's about the system they play. and I'm still taking Florida's defense over Toronto's defense, even though like Toronto might have more marquee names. The names might be more familiar, but the way Paul Maurice has the D playing in Florida, I don't think anybody's competing with them. He talked specifically after the Tampa Bay series that the thing they do best is manage the gaps, and they don't really care about anything else. It's just eliminating the gaps in play, smothering the other team. And I think when they're playing at their best, nobody's as good as them.
This series is going to be won and lost net front, I think, for both teams.
And in the forward groups, let's talk about Florida here again. Verhaeghe, former Leaf. Barkov, Reinhart.
Verhaeghe was
By the way,
a bit.
Barkov and Reinhart were just nominated for the Selke together.
Line mates.
Crazy.
Psychotic.
Evan Rodriguez, Sam Bennett, Matthew Tkachuk, Luosterainen, Lundell, Marchand. Oh my God.
Luosterainen and Lundell is one of the most underrated duos in the entire league, and you add Brad Marchand to it. Screw you.
And then AJ Greer, Nico Sturm, who's been great for them, and Jesper Boquist as well. That's a very formidable top 12. Now, we know the Leafs top 12 too, right? We got Nyes, Matthews, Marner, Pacioretty, Tavares, Nylander, McMahon, Holmberg, Domi, Lorentz, Lawton, Yarncroke. Now, Matt Nyes played his first hockey with the Leafs as a part of that 2023 run where the Leafs did play the Florida Panthers. And until Sam Bennett literally headshotted him, like there's just no other.
He slammed his head into the ice.
He was a very effective player against these guys. He's also now 2 years better.
Yeah, that
and
third
developed.
line was kind of the straw that stirred the drink that year. That was Nyes, that was Ryan O'Reilly, and that was Noel Acciari. He is a force in this league. I don't think Leaf fans in their wildest dreams could have hoped for a player to develop like this. He's going to be a factor, and he's part of the reason why they're just a tougher team to push around. The D core is big, it's formidable, but the Leafs kind of have toughness throughout the lineup instead of, we have one or two guys that'll consider throwing a punch.
Right.
That's the big difference from 2 years ago.
Guys like Kerfoot, guys like this is funny. It's kind of
Kerfoot, who scored an OT winner that year.
Noel Acciari, Zach Aston Reese, Mark Giordano, Michael Bunting, Sam Lafferty, all members of that Leafs team. Do you guys think that this Leafs team matches up better to this Florida team than the Leafs team in 2023, which was pretty much pounded out of the round?
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. The only difference, I would say, is Florida got better too.
So who do you give the edge to on the forward side?
It's Cope did not say Florida. I don't think Florida has a huge advantage in any given area, but I would say they have the advantage in every area.
Jesse, you agree with that?
Yeah, I would trust the top-end talent of the Florida Panthers and even like the middle six talent to show up and finish their chances more than the Leafs based on what we've seen so far in these playoffs and based on the recent memory of the Leafs. Like, I trust Matthew Tkachuk and Bennett and Reinhart to finish their opportunities more than I trust Matthews and Marner to do it.
So what do the Leafs need to do? Because it's obvious what the Panthers are going to do. What do the Leafs need to do to not get steamrolled like Tampa? How do they win this series?
Well, they gotta hit back, but they also can't get distracted by the sideshow. Florida did not beat Tampa because they were bigger or meaner. They have the horses, and I think the Panthers are almost disrespected in that way. Like, they're bullying their way to all these goals. They're bullying their way to series wins. They're extremely talented. Like Lundell and Luosterainen, those guys aren't bullies. They're just extremely good at hockey. Matthew Tkachuk, if you get too distracted by the antics, is extremely good at hockey. Barkov, he's been the most underrated player in the league for 7 or 8 years, which is that's not how you use the word underrated. But anyway, Sam Reinhart, Carter Verhaeghe, they're a really fast rush team. And I think if the Leafs have any chance of beating Florida, they've got to take every opportunity to slow the game down. Like, watching 6 games of Leafs Ottawa and then turning on almost any other series in the league in the first round, it's like someone sped up my television.
Right.
Dallas, Colorado, you go, holy crap. There's just a level to this. If the Leafs can slow the game down, unlike a couple years ago, that'll actually be a good thing.
Jesse.
I honestly think the Leafs will be in this series from start to the finish. Like, might have games that go here or there, but I think it's going to be a long series because of what you're talking about. And the playoff hockey that Craig Berube tried to instill from game 1 of the regular season to now the second round, they've been very successful at it. They've been very successful at playing low event hockey in low scoring games and close games. They deliberately want to win goals by a goal or two because they'll just get a lead and sit on it and be comfy with that, knowing that they're not going to make a couple mistakes that'll lead to goals for the other end. So I think this series is going to be very competitive just with the way the Leafs play hockey nowadays. It's not anything we've seen of any of the Leafs teams in recent memory.
And they were a high event playoff team when they played the Panthers last time.
Sheldon Keefe was a complete different coach than Craig Berube, and
Completely.
the style of hockey will lend itself more to a series against Florida, the style of hockey they're playing.
Okay.
Leafs did a really good job taking away Ullmark's eyes. They have to do the same to Bob.
Yeah, go to the net, which is
Go to
something
the
they were
net.
not doing enough of in that last series. So I will give you mine because I refuse to bet against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I am saying Leafs in 7. And I think it's going to be an overtime. And then I think Brad Marchand's going to give up the puck that ultimately leads to Matthew Nyes because he got that injury last time scoring. That's what I've drawn up in my head. That's what I'm putting out to the universe. It's going to be a long series. It's going to be a mean series. I think the Leafs win as the underdog because they haven't done that in the Matthews, Marner, and Nylander era.
No.
Not ever won as an underdog, which is crazy.
Or won the second round.
Steve and Jesse, who wants to take this next? What's your prediction?
We can save Steve for last.
Okay.
But we're verging on the territory of the Florida Panthers being one of the most disrespected Stanley Cup champions ever.
Dynasties,
based
maybe?
on no, I think they've been disrespected through these last 2 seasons in that like nobody's given them that championship pedigree of be like, hey, everybody's got to beat this team. Like looking at how we all thought about how that Tampa series would go and how we believe that Tampa, oh, look how well they're playing and they're struggling down the stretch. Florida doesn't care about the regular season. They get into the playoffs and they start
that
playing
much is clear.
Florida Panthers hockey.
They fooled me.
It's
They
been
totally
that
fooled
way
me.
for 2 years and 2 years plus now another playoff round. So until somebody beats Florida, I refuse to ever pick against them again because they're the champs and I think somebody's got to beat them to convince me. So I'm going to pick Florida in 7.
I am dancing between. Listen, we're all 3 Leaf fans here. I have the Leafs going to the Cup final in my bracket. I also have Colorado. Here's the deal. I thought the Leafs were going to be playing the Lightning, and the Leafs match up really well against them. The Leafs have struggled mightily against the Panthers. Now, here's the difference. The Leafs also struggled against the Senators in the regular season badly, and the Leafs came out flying in that series. Jesse's right. The Panthers have been disrespected. Marchand, Game 7. I feel like we've been meant to do this forever. I'm not excited to say this. Panthers in 7.
No! Come on, boys. Where's the passion?
I thought about saying
Where's
6.
the passion?
I thought about saying 6.
Gentlemen.
You're King Leafs. How dare you?
How
I've
dare
gotten
you?
the last 2 Leafs playoff series correct. Outcome and game. I said Bruins in 7. It was Bruins in 7. I said Leafs in 6. It was Leafs in 6.
I hate it. I hate it.
Yo, me too.
But you know what? There's always a chance. They got to play the games. That's why they play the game.
That's why they
Oh, yeah.
play the
Nobody's saying
game.
the Leafs don't have a chance.
Now it's worth mentioning that we have if you missed out on our first bracket, you can join our Spark second bracket challenge. You can build if you think that you can build a better 2025 NHL playoff bracket than Steve, Jesse, or I. You can make your selections now and start in the second round. And by the way, if you didn't, you're not just going to join the main bracket and have to go up against people that correctly picked in the first round.
This is fresh.
This is just for the second round, and you can sign up now. It's actually, link is in the description, and we encourage you to sign up. Over 8,600 people signed up for the STPN
Holy
bracket
moly.
for the entire playoffs. This is just the second round, and if you signed up for one, you can sign up for the other as well. Why not? You know more information.
Why not?
Right? Check it out.